So I do believe in falling in love.
Okay.
But I do believe that people have the wrong perception of what that is. Because some people, what they're calling falling in love is becoming attached. You know what I'm saying? Or becoming so infatuated that they now believe that they're in love with somebody. But to me, falling in love is experiencing that deep and genuine connection with somebody. Something that you can't force. Like I tell everybody, you can't create a connection. It's either there or it's not. There are people that you either click with or you don't. And no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, it's just not going to be there if it's not already there. So I do believe that, yes, we can meet people and we can experience that connection and we can fall in love. But even in falling in love, we have to be willing to, because a lot of people are afraid to fall in love. A lot of people run from real love. These relationships that they're allowing themselves to be in are what I would call a relationship where they can maintain emotional control. Like, I really like you, but you don't make me vulnerable enough to scare me or to make me feel like this is too much or overwhelming. And when people have been hurt and been through a lot of disappointments, they don't want the overwhelming, vulnerable feeling that true love brings. Exactly. That wall is up. They want that, all right, it's good enough to be with and it's companionship and I can hold on to that, but it doesn't scare me and run me away.
That's interesting. So when you say the word falling in love, are you describing a feeling? Like you said, like connection. Like, is that connection? Like, is that a feeling, or is that more so like we connect because similar interests, similar desires, similar goals? Like, what is that connection you describe?
I don't really call it a feeling. I call it a recognition. Falling in love to me is like, and even that connection, it's like you're recognizing your counterpart. You're discovering who that person is that you have this draw to. It's almost an unexplainable draw to them. That doesn't happen with everybody. We can like a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And we can desire a lot of people, but we don't feel drawn to everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level right there. So when you come across it, you're recognizing it. You know what I'm saying? And again, falling in love is when you allow yourself to embrace it. You see what I'm saying? So part of that is you have to be willing to go there, because some people recognize it and say, oh, hell no, this too much. I can't handle this right now. I'm out. All right. So they stop themselves from falling in love. But yeah, I don't think it's more so a feeling. And I don't even think, like, to me, love isn't a feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Love isn't an action either. You hear a lot of people say, oh, love is an action. That's actually pure BS.
Oh, wow.
All right. No disrespect to no disrespect to all these people. You know what I'm saying? It sounds good, but love is expressed or can be expressed through actions, but it's not defined by actions. Okay. You can have someone right now who's madly in love with you and is doing nothing about it. Because of the circumstances, maybe because they're afraid. Their lack of action does not mean they're not in love with you. There's a whole lot more to it. Love to me is our spirit. Like, we're born with love. If you're a spiritual person, if you're a believer, you can find it in the Bible where it says he gave us a spirit of love. That's something that's within us. That's why when we're born as babies, we cry to be held. We cry for affection. We want love. We're wired that way naturally. And then in life, it's a matter of who we choose to give it to and who we choose not to. You know what I'm saying? But then falling in love is, like I said, that's not even about just love itself. That's about connection. And that's something way deeper that I think a lot of people just don't fully understand.
So, do you believe you can fall out of love?
No. You don't fall out of love. You can reject love. You can run from love, but you don't really fall out of it. And perfect example, when it's true, when it's real love, people who are falling out of love, I always say, when you fall out of love, it's because you realize you were never in love to begin with. All right? You were there for other reasons. You were infatuated. You were caught up in the hype, but you didn't have that real connection with them, because when you have that genuine connection with someone, you will always love them. You can stop talking to this person right now, meet up 20 years later, the feelings come right back. And there's millions of stories like that where people disconnect, reconnect, and it's like they never stop talking. Because when it's the real connection, it never disappears. You can't create a connection, you can't destroy one. But you can run from it, you can decide not to nurture it. You know what I'm saying? You can pile a bunch of crap on top of it, but it's still there one way or another.
That scares me, though.
Why?
What if I had a connection with a guy? He come back like, hey, I need you to fall out of that.
The only way you're going to safeguard yourself is you got to make sure the person you're with, you have a connection with.
Gotcha.
If you don't have a genuine connection with them, I ain't going to lie to you. Yes,
That's
be
crazy.
afraid. Be very afraid. All right?
Not saying for me personally, I'm just saying.
And listen, and it ain't even like be afraid because some past dude is going to come back to haunt you. If you don't have a genuine connection with that person you're with, that relationship is going to fall apart at some point. You ain't going to be able to keep it up. Trust me. All these divorces, all these failed relationships, they don't have a connection. You know what I'm saying? And that was the missing ingredient. Because when you don't have that, you don't have the same desire, the same energy to fight for each other, to work towards things together. And you're just not drawn to each other enough to find a way to make things work.
That's really good. And what's interesting is that I was always, when I've heard people use the word fall in love, they usually were describing like a feeling, in a sense like Cupid shot them with an arrow and they couldn't control it, and all of a sudden like I fell in love with this person. I can't live without him. And then a lot of times I saw people who fell in love with the wrong person, right? And so then I questioned that, and I was like, if this was a good godly connection that you had with this person, but they were a bad person who was abusing you, who was doing evil to you, like, did you really fall in love? Would you, for people who are currently believing right now in this moment that they are in love with somebody and they may be in an abusive or toxic relationship, would you say that they're in love as well?
I would say in most situations, no, they're not. In most situations, again, people love to use the label of love to validate and defend the relationships that they're in. Because if I'm in that situation and I tell you, nah, I'm not really in love, but I'm having a hard time letting go for other reasons, then you're going to keep trying to convince me why I should let go. If I tell you, but I'm in love, you might leave me alone. So now I use that as a defense mechanism, and I have to convince myself, why am I still here? And so if I keep telling myself, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, then I can defend why I won't let go of this bad situation. But in most cases, no, it is a fear of being alone. It is a fear of acknowledging the mistake of getting caught up with this person. It is a deeper issue that's causing you to be attached to this individual, but you're calling it love. And so to the outside person, they get discouraged by the idea of love because they see these horrible examples. But don't be fooled. That's not real love. Love does not keep you where you do not belong. All right? And so, but let me say this. Are there some situations where someone is in love with someone and they have an unhealthy relationship right now? Yes, that does happen because we're human beings. And sometimes we can be in love with each other, but it's not time for us to be together. That person hasn't address their demons, their issues that would allow them to have a healthy relationship. Being in love is just one piece of the puzzle. All right. And so, yes, you could actually have a real connection with this individual, but they're still very unhealthy. And so are you. You got some things you're not realizing that need to be addressed. So there needs to be a separation. So one way or another, whether you have a connection with them or not, you need to break up that relationship right now. If it's unhealthy and toxic and it's not being corrected, you have to walk away. But that doesn't mean you guys can't come back together later. And it doesn't mean that that individual won't get themselves on the right track, because people change all the time. You know what I'm saying? But they can be, a lot of times they're less likely to change when you remain with them, because now you're enabling them. And they have no reason to, because facing yourself is like one of the hardest things to do. So people ain't going to do that if you're going to still be with them. But once you leave them, watch how fast. It's almost like if a job tells you got to get your master's to work here, but they hire you anyway, you're not going to run to go get your master's. You're going to keep doing your thing. But let them fire you. Let's see how quick you go get your master's so you can get your job back. You know, so that's what it is.
And then how can you tell the difference? Because you made reference earlier that some people who say they're in love, they're actually just infatuated. Like from your experiences and your counseling and your wisdom that you have, like how do you tell the difference between somebody who's in love and somebody who's just being infatuated with another person?
So for me, I think for the average person, it's going to be hard to evaluate.
Okay.
For me, I have this innate thing that I can pick up on things very quickly. So just in talking to you and the way you speak about the relationship tells me everything. Another example is, what are you using to claim this is why you should be here? So one time I had a young lady who was coming to me for a coaching session, And she was saying, you know, I help him, I do this for him, I do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm so in love with him. And I said, well, you told me everything you do for him. What does he do for you? And she stopped.
Oh my God.
All right? She stopped. And she was like, you know what? He doesn't do anything. So how are you going to tell me you're so in love with someone who does nothing for you? Nothing. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Our ability to fall in love with someone or to embrace someone in love, don't get me wrong, we can give love to anybody regardless of them doing anything for us. So don't get me wrong, giving genuine love is not attached to what we receive in return. However, to be in love in the romantic sense and want a relationship with someone, yes, there's a give and take. And when all you're doing is giving and you're not receiving nothing, then something else is going on here. This isn't you being in love. All right. And what happened in that situation was it turned out she was afraid to be alone. She had went through a divorce. She never healed from the divorce. There was so many things that came out once I showed her this dude does nothing for you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Man.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I had a friend, I won't say his name on the show, but what happened? Oh, I'm good. Do I sound like my throat's dry? Oh, Stephan, need some water?
No, I'm good.
Oh,
Okay.
just Stephan? What? I call myself the star of the show for a reason.
But I had a friend. You know, he's a friend of the show. We all know who he is, but we won't say his name.
I'll say his name. I ain't gonna say his name.
But he was in one of those relationships, right? He was in a relationship with a young lady who he was doing X, Y, Z, A, B, C, giving so much. And she said, I love you. And he said he loved her. And it was one-sided. You know, he was only doing one thing and she wasn't doing anything else. And so he wanted me to ask you, you know, because he's a big fan as well.
Okay.
But he wanted me to ask you that he said he's noticed that in most relationships today, it's clear what the man is supposed to do. You know, like take her out on dates, you know, initiate, lead, protect, all that stuff. Like it's clear the role and responsibility of a man in a relationship. And a lot of times in assessing a relationship, a woman would want to see the man do husband-like things for her, even though they're not husband and wife, to assess what he's going to be a good match for her. But he was wondering, like, as a man, what should you expect out of a woman? Like, what is her expectations in a relationship that she should be doing for you?
So first, it depends on the man.
Okay.
Because where you are in life will determine what you need at that moment. So I do think you have to consider yourself and your specific needs. But I think in general, what a man has to look for is, one, a woman who can support you. All right. And not just support you with fake, empty words of affirmation. Really believe in you. Now, that's a two-sided thing. You have to give her something to believe in. All right. But she has to be someone that can embrace that, because not every woman embraces the greatness in you. Some women are negative as hell. All right. And they will, like one guy told me he married a dream killer. All right. And so it didn't matter what he threw at her, she always had something negative to say. No man should have to subject himself to that. That cannot be your wife. That cannot be your girl, because that will stop you from achieving what you need to achieve in your life. And trust me, as men, when we have that kind of negative energy constantly in our lives, it derails us completely from where we need to be and what we need to be doing, because women are so influential in our lives. So their energy that they bring to the table plays a huge role. So I would encourage every man, you got to find someone who can support you, someone who knows how to be positive. All right?
Boy, that's important.
Man.
That's important. I would say, what did it say? A quarrelsome woman's like a dripping faucet, whatever it said, living on the corner of the house.
A dripping faucet.
It's going to be a problem. And I think a lot of dudes, some dudes don't realize how serious it is because they're negative themselves. And they grew up around negative women or negative households. So they don't know how to tell the difference. They think it's just, oh, she's being strong, she's being tough. Yeah, that's all cute every now and then. But if you got to deal with that every single day, you might think it's okay now, but in the long term, it's going to destroy the relationship. So she has to show the ability to be positive. If not, she's not ready for the relationship, period. Something else is going on. There's something she hasn't resolved that's contributing to why she's so damn miserable. All right? And you can't fix it. You can do everything she wants. She is going to find a way to still be negative. So you have to pay attention. Does she know how to be positive? And don't get me wrong, we're all going to have our negative moments, but what's her more consistent energy, positive or negative? And if it's positive, okay, we're good to go. If it's negative, don't do it. So supportive, positive. Again, now this one comes down to what you need. You know, some guys want a woman who takes care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I think men have to be honest with themselves about what do you really need to feel happy and satisfied by your woman. Too many dudes will act like, no, I don't care about looks like that, or I understand she gains weight, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. If you genuinely say that and believe that, knock yourself out, all right? But don't go talking that noise. And then when she gained 20, 30, 40 pounds, now you're not wanting her the same way. Now you're looking at the girls on Instagram or whatever, and you're trying to creep in these streets because you're not attracted to your girl the same way anymore. Like, that stuff doesn't help you if you're not going to be able to sustain and maintain a healthy relationship with her. So be honest with the woman up front.
How do you do that without making her feel insecure, you know? How do you let her know, I need you to be in the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week?
You just got to be honest, bro. Like, listen, are they holding any punches when they say they need us to work and make money? Ain't nobody holding punches on that. Ain't nobody giving a break to men about being financially stable. And I tell men too, you got to be financially stable. So why? My thing is this: we value things differently. All right. So let's say taking care of yourself, your body, on a scale of 1 to 10 for the average guy is an 8. All right. And for women on the average scale, the financial part is an 8. So to her, the body thing may be a 3. To you, the body thing may be a 2 or 4. But that just because we value things differently don't mean that they're not important to our partner, and they're what we have to embrace. We have to embrace what our partner needs if we're going to have a successful relationship. So my thing is this: if your woman or the person that you're considering being with can't handle you being honest, and I'm not saying don't attack her with it, but expressing in a genuine, loving way, hey, this is what I need from my partner.
Can you give me an example of, like, not for me, not for me. You know, obviously, I'm gonna say in case there was a guy.
It's so funny how you guys. Wait, can you explain?
In case there was a guy out there who sees his girl, let's say, you know, eating a little too many cupcakes, you know, and, you know, starting to not fit the pants the way she used to fit them. How does this guy gracefully, like you said, respectfully tell her that I need you in the gym?
So, okay, 2 things. 1, lead by example.
Go to the gym
all
yourself.
right? You can't expect her to keep herself up when you're letting yourself go. All right? So if you want her to be more mindful of what she eats, you have to be mindful of what you eat. Even if, yes, you can handle the cupcakes more than she can as far as the impact on your body, you can't let that be the reason why you don't eat healthier, and lead by example. Number 2, the reason why we have to dance around being honest in the moment of her eating those cupcakes is because we have not set an environment where we're open and honest with each other about everything. If we have a relationship where from the jump, I can be real with you, you can be real with me. Like on my tour events, I talk to women about being more open and honest about sex, because a lot of women ain't being satisfied sexually and they lying to the dude.
A lot of women.
All right, a lot of women. A lot of women.
Like, you so frustrated.
I want to say the majority of women are not as satisfied as people think. All right, but they're lying about it. And because they're lying about it, it creates a huge issue. So it's the same thing. If you can't be honest with him about those things, then when there's other things that come up, how are you going to have those honest conversations? So be honest from the jump. Be open. Create an environment where we can constructively criticize each other for the sake of making sure we're both happy with each other. So now, when she's eating too much cupcakes and you make a joke or you make a comment, she's not going to take it the same way. She's going to be okay because y'all have that relationship established. You know what I'm saying? But when y'all don't have that kind of relationship and now you say something about the cupcakes, oh yeah, she's going to be salty.
Yeah, or you could tell her to go on the 7-day water diet. Hey man, he already gave us the answer.
That's good. Was there anything else? Because I remember my friend was saying, like, so for example, let's say traditional roles, the man gets the money, you know, and the woman, you know, cooks and cleans and does stuff like that. But women still expect you to get them money and buy them stuff when they're in a relationship, but they don't want to cook and clean, you know? Is that something a man can expect in a woman in a relationship with, to cook and clean for him?
So, okay, here's the thing. I think this is probably the most important point to make about this.
Okay.
As a man, you decide what you're willing to do. All right? So if she's not, I agree with women not giving wife benefits to a man she's just dating.
Yeah.
But guess what? I think the same thing about men. Why the hell you giving husband benefits to a woman you're just dating?
Amen.
There's levels to this.
Amen.
All right? You ain't earned that privilege yet. We're not there yet. And I don't have to give you that. I think the problem is if you're not confident in who you are as a man, you have to now compensate with all these other things. But I ain't got to compensate with none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I'm at a level of confidence to where if you don't like what I bring to the table as a man, then I ain't doing nothing else for you. That's not gonna make the difference. I don't want you here for those reasons. I want you here because we connect, because we have a genuine draw to each other. We're on the same page. Now, listen, that doesn't mean you can't do things here and there, because I think as men, we like to do things for the woman we're serious about, that we have genuine interest in. But if you're doing them because you feel like you have to meet some expectation or because you're supposed to do it, hell no, stop. That's a problem right there. You know what I'm saying? If anything, work on you as a man. And you can still show, and this is for men and women, you can still show the qualities they look for in a husband and wife without doing husband-wife things. I think there's this huge misconception that I have to spend all my money to show you that I have money and I can spend it. That's not true. All right. You can see that in the way that I live my life.
Yeah.
You can see how I take care of myself. Same way that I can tell you're a no good bum by the way you take care of yourself. How you treat me. It doesn't even have to get to the point of how you treat me. How do you treat you? If you're not good to you, you're not going to be good to me. So I got to evaluate you, your life, how you're living. That will tell me everything. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't got to do all this extra stuff. We do all this extra stuff because, again, we're not confident in who we are as people.
Lord Jesus.
And you know what? Let me throw this in. And this is a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I'm not encouraging men in this way, but I'm just saying, it's like the dude where you got some dudes just to get just to smash.
Yeah.
They want to take her out. They want to do all this extra stuff thinking that's what they got to do to smash.
Yeah.
But then you got the other dude who just shows up and
Yeah.
he gets it.
Yeah.
All right. Why? Because he's confident in who he is as a man and in his ability to make this woman desire him just based off what he brings right there. He ain't got to do all that extra stuff. And it's usually the dude who's doing all that extra stuff that gets played.
Like Will Smith in the beginning of Hitch, man. Like Will Smith. You remember the beginning of Hitch?
He was in college. What did I do? What did I do wrong?
We're doing it right now. Oh no, that's a really good point. No, I was like, man, this is really
It's good, man. It's
man.
good. So like, I think one thing I'm trying to make sure I do better, or not do better, or do in the future, or whatever, is how to be a man that truly leads right in a relationship. So
That leads?
Yeah, like lead the relationship right.
Again, I think it starts with you first.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Are you leading yourself right? You can't lead nobody else if you can't lead yourself.
Gotcha.
So how are you living? How are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to set a certain standard in your life? So like for me, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a man of God. For a while, I was even going to church. And so to me, it's like, how am I have a wife and expect my family to embrace spirituality, embrace God, and I'm not even leading myself to church?
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I had to get that going. I had to start physically getting back in there, not just watching it on the internet. That's real convenient, you know what I'm saying? But nah, you gotta be there. Like your presence needs to be there. So I think that's where it starts. One is learning how to take care of yourself and again, I'm big on praying and talking to God and finding out what He wants you to do in your life. But then I also think, it's about learning how to lead people in general. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard to lead the same qualities it takes to lead the woman or your household, it takes to lead people in general. Are you willing to listen to them? Consider their feelings, knowing how to express yourself effectively to an individual. These are the things that's going to allow someone to embrace your leadership in any situation. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of misconceptions about what makes a strong leader. It's not all the hard stuff and talking down on people. No, that destroys your credibility as a leader. It's knowing how to bring people to the table and make them feel comfortable and opening up and trusting your guidance. But then also as a man, create or build up your resume is what I like to say. Yeah. So it's like I said earlier, you want her to believe in you, you got to give her something to believe in. So if you have not accomplished nothing in your life, expecting her to embrace your lead is going to be real tough.
Yeah.
All right. And she may embrace it at first, but after a while, she wants to see results. But when you can come to the table with what you've already accomplished in life, it doesn't mean you got to be rich or anything like that. But you show that you're a man who handles his business, who's gotten some things taken care of. Now she says, okay, you know what? This dude is serious about how he handles himself and his ability to execute. I can trust that. I can roll with that. And that's how you are able to, in my opinion, lead as a man and create a relationship to where she will embrace your leadership.
Got you. So lead yourself, and then know how to lead others people. You can use those same qualities and characteristics
Exactly.
to lead your family.
Absolutely.
Got you. Got you.
So what do you think some of the challenges men face when they're trying to lead a woman in a relationship? What are some of the complaints you hear women say that men are not doing?
I think, again, one is expecting her to embrace your leadership when you ain't doing nothing with your life. Like, bruh, you a whole bum on the couch, not accomplishing a damn thing.
So women don't like the morons.
And I ain't trying to speak down on the men who do that. I want to encourage them. I want them to do better.
Get up. Get up.
Yeah, but exactly.
Yeah.
The reality is that you can't think that's okay and then expect her to embrace your leadership. It's not going to work that way. So I think, one, not being about your business. Two, not considering her feelings. I think that's a huge thing. Even, especially when you're married, you have to consider, even if you are the final decision maker, you have to consider how she feels and her input. Everyone wants to feel respected and valued in any relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if we look at it from a basketball perspective, if LeBron's the captain and he just comes to the team and says, this is the way we doing it, end of story, they're going to start to turn on him.
Yeah.
Because they never feel like they're being heard. You know what I'm saying? But when he says, all right, let's have a team meeting. Let me hear what your issues are. Let me hear what your concerns are. And I take that in consideration. Even if I don't make the decision based off what you said, just considering it makes you feel like, all right, I'm a part of this team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think not considering her feelings, not being a man about your business, to me, those are the main two things. And just not knowing how to talk to her and listen in general. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to have effective communication with your partner. If you do that, it changes everything.
Jeez.
Man, this is so much.
Break everything down. No, this is really good.
Man, no, that's really some really good points, and this kind of makes me think about something else. You made reference to Lawrence, and shows like Insecure and just a lot of the climate in regards to men and women. And this is not relevant, but I'm gonna say it anyway. But a lot of guys out there who are the guys you're describing, successful, confident, handsome. I know I'm describing myself, but bear with me as I describe other people. I'm not describing myself in this moment. but there's a lot of guys out there, such as yourself and Chris, and who are doing really well, who are these men that a lot of women aspire to be with. But a lot of them are dealing with, at times, analysis paralysis, right? We all understand that, unfortunately, especially in the Black community, there's more men like us. I mean, there's less men like us than there's women. There's more women who got their stuff together than men, unfortunately. So they outnumber us. So how do these guys who have all these options, who see all these women who want them, how do they settle down? 'Cause I feel like a lot of women look at these guys like, oh, they're players, that, third. But sometimes it's like you're just you have Brewsters, and you're like, let me get the vanilla. And they're like, what about the chocolate? What about the cookies and cream? What about the orange sherbet? You're just overwhelmed. Like, how does a man just pick one?
All right. So there's a few things to consider.
Okay.
One, success doesn't equal purpose.
Okay.
When a man has success, he will find himself in that position more likely to where, he has so many options. He wants to take advantage of it. And it's easier to fall into that trap. When you have purpose, the game changes. All right? There's so much more at stake now. You have to become so much more laser focused, and you're less likely to want to risk the pitfalls that come along with dealing with too many different women or getting caught up in trying and be a player and all that. So I genuinely believe that a man who finds his purpose will become a man who starts to value one woman over dealing with a whole bunch of different
his
women.
time as well.
All right? And his time. That's a big thing. Because when you have purpose, your time has dwindled down. You have to be working on your business. If you have a family, your family. You don't have time to be entertaining a bunch of different women. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? But when you have success, it's a different story. So we have to differentiate success and purpose. So I think that's step one. Number two, I do believe that when you find that woman you have a genuine connection with, everything changes again. It's almost like you ever seen dudes who were raised to be players, and then they meet that one girl, and now they're ready to throw their player card in, and they're like, forget it. I just want just her. Yeah. When you find that woman that you're genuinely into and drawn to like that, your mind just switches. Yeah. And now you become locked in. And if that relationship is taken care of the way it's supposed to, your desire for entertaining other people dwindles big time.
So what if you met like 3 girls like that? And they were all like, you feel like, they're connecting. You feel
nah, you ain't gonna meet no 3 girls you got a connection with. You might meet 3 girls that you lusting after, that you like, that you got different reasons why you want to be with them. But ain't no way in hell you got a genuine connection with 3 different women, much less 3 different women at the same damn time. Nah, bruh. Nah, that ain't happening. And if you think you in love with all 3 of these women, right there, I'm gonna tell you ain't in love. Like right there, you're lying or you are misguided in your perceptions.
I'm not saying this is me.
Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there.
When does someone know it's connection and not chemistry? Because I feel like you might be tricked. We have this incredible connection. We understand each other. We get each other. I can't explain it, but I feel something.